Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. Have you ever wondered what is possible beyond possible? What is the thing you've been wondering and inquiring about? Are you just feeling stuck and don't know why? Are you thinking or are you seeing? Seeing allows us to expand and have this other experience. We want to invite you for that wake-up call. We want to invite your spirit, your soul, so to be more alive, more connected. Glenn Brooks has been a life coach for over 33 years, author of Divorced to Patterns, Not Each Other, an explorer of what is possible. He has worked with people all around the world. Join us for a wake-up conversation, a dialogue with you. We will have some of the most interesting contributors. We will be talking to some of the most interesting people and have some of the most resourceful teachers, wisdom-filled people from around the world join us. Share your voice, ask the questions, become free of the known into a new world of possibility. We are going to talk about all the things you wonder about: how to live, how to heal, how to connect, how to love, how to be seen. Your life is precious. Enjoy it.
Good afternoon, good morning. I'm Glenn Brooks. Wonderful having you with us today. So vibrancy. I didn't really know exactly what vibrancy was, but I discovered it on my paper round. I discovered by listening to people and noticing their eyes and their breath. I could feel like people would breathe differently when I asked them certain questions. And my parents had one thing to say to me pretty much is, when are you going to get another job? But really what was happening was I was kind of listening to people. I was listening to people and I was really curious. The closest person in my life had passed away, my grandfather. And I didn't know what to do. So I was probably like you. I was sort of like a dark horse. I sort of was moving to something. And every so often I would meet someone and they would say something to me and it would ring at a deeper level. So what I'm saying to you is that, first of all, you're not the target. It seems in the world we're like a target of so much, right? So much happening. So vibrancy is that thing in you that's beyond the counterfeit. It's alive. And I want to welcome Olivia, a new Vibrant Living team member. She owns an incredible inn, Northeast Kingdom. Well, hi.
Hello.
We're talking about vibrant retreats. I'm going to get into that a little bit. Lisa LaRose is I want to introduce Lisa. Lisa's a long-term family member, and no matter what I say or do, she eventually loves and appreciates me. Yet, once again, thank you, Lisa, for producing and being behind the scenes, and always reminding me to do practical things. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very, very welcome.
Ariel, who was kidnapped yesterday at 4 o'clock, but the Jewish Secret Service and other people found him. He's back safely, being the producer, the vibrant producer in New York. I'm glad you're good. Welcome back. Welcome forward.
Thank
Nate
you.
Hughes, who's good. You know, trusting from one breath to the next is the most valuable thing we could do sometimes, no matter what's happening. Just knowing it's going to be okay, and that the next breath, after we pause, another breath is coming. Right? A lot of people walk around in hyperventilation. I was telling Lisa this morning that one of the first things I did was study the breath, and with some unusual people. But I started to realize the whole story of our life is in our breath, and now I realize it's in our relational breath, how we breathe together. Or in Hawaiian terms, they call this the ohana, which is the family that breathes together. Nate Hughes, the wild man entrepreneur of the Catskills, consultant to retreat centers, owner of this amazing chocolate company. I'll call it medicinal chocolate, wonder chocolate. Nate, it's wonderful having you here today. I think you're here today. Are you there, Nate? Okay, I got to practice introducing Nate. It had a purpose. I was talking to Olivia this morning about retreats, and it got me thinking about retreats. So, kind of in between my paper out and other things in life, I met a man who owned an inn in the Hamptons. And I want you to pay attention to it, because something in your life right now that you love and enjoy expressing and doing is really your doorway for turning your vocation into your vacation. How do you turn your vocation into your vacation? And part of what it is start to study what's kind of precious and moving to you. And sometimes we don't even know that until we slow down. So the first thing is one of your practices is to slow down. And I've developed something called the Vibrant Living Challenge so that we could all have these practices together. So one of the practices in relation to how to turn your vocation into your vacation is moments of slowness. So, for instance, even when you get in your car, I just want you to take moments where you slow down and you exhale. Because hurry is a sure sign of poverty. But there's something that happens when we do this as a group. So when I was talking to Olivia this morning, when I was probably like 21, 22, I met a man who owned this center, this inn in the Hamptons. And he invited me, because at the time, all I really enjoyed doing is I really got fascinated with this idea of vibrant education. I got fascinated. Why was it that some people, they were like alive and they moved well and they breathed well, and couples, it was like there was this other whole life. They didn't talk about it in school. And I thought, how could they? On some level, I missed that. So turning your vocation into your vacation is a study that's worth such value. There was a man who wrote a book called Twice in a Lifetime. He discovered what he loved to do at 80. And he said he breathed differently and moved differently. So, Olivia, let's go to you, because you asked me that question. We talked about, you asked this morning about retreats, right? So
yep, I
bring
did.
that conversation up again. That was such a great conversation. I love that you said that.
Well, I was curious. What is a retreat? What's the definition of a retreat? So I've seen it in marketing and so forth, and it sound wonderful. But to be honest with you, I wasn't quite, until I spoke to you this morning, was not quite sure of exactly what a retreat was. And that's where the conversation began, and then just you elaborated, I should say. Do you want to say what you said, or am I going to be pop quizzed on it?
Well, I thought you wrote me. Well, as I said to you, there's forwarding and retreats. Some people need forwarding. Some people need a combination of forwarding and retreats. And what I mean by forwarding is sometimes they're moved to move forward in a different way. So let's see. So retreats. Retreats are this idea that there's retreating without collapsing. Sometimes when the people get overwhelmed, they collapse. But my experience at retreats is that it's a place that you go, a third space, by the way, a third space. It's a place that's different than work or home, that you go to discover a new level of vitality and revitalization and rejuvenation relationally. In other words, as human beings, we learn through other human beings. Mariska said to me so brilliantly this morning, we learn through other human beings. So at a retreat center, or when people would come to see me, and I just had someone just come, the first thing I would do is I'd always meet them, and this is how me and you connected. I would meet them where we had woods around us or the ocean, or we were in close proximity to a sauna, a heated venue. Just like in Finland, they have business meetings in the sauna. So, so retreating. So what's interesting about retreating is that it's a third place that you meet. I like to do things in nature, and I take people beyond the regular world, beyond the world that see. A lot of people see stress isn't the issue; it's actually distress. It's not stress, because you can be very excited and be stressed. It's more a feeling you're not able to do something with the overwhelm. So when I design retreats, and now particularly, the retreats are all about releasing this sense of overwhelm so you could discover the original impulse, the impulse that's in you right now, that moves you, that breathes you, that wonder, that wonderment that's there. So the thing in life now, unless you go to another country, unfortunately, a lot of people are so overwhelmed that they're moved by emergency to emergency. So I see as a retreat as a place a third place that you go to revitalize, to regenerate, and to breathe together. By the way, people are much better when they breathe together. When I work with groups of people and they breathe together, I'll let Lisa say something about this, because Lisa travels. What would you say about your experience of retreats and the third place, Lisa?
When I retreat, I like to go to a place where I can completely decompress and regenerate every part of me, to really detach. My world is pretty hectic. And so for me to be able to go into that space where I can breathe deeply and nurture myself with really great food and just empty my mind and just be at one with the experience of the people that I meet at wherever my destination is, and just really experience and breathe in the environment that's around me. Whether it's, I've been, to Thailand, everywhere in South America, all over the globe. I'm headed off to Los Angeles. But, when you get into that space of being around the environment that you set yourself in, it really nurtures every part of you when you allow it to do that. It's interesting. Some people's idea of a vacation is to go shopping and have an itinerary. And that's not me. When I go somewhere and I go on a retreat, there's no itinerary. Whatever shows up for that day, it's really magical. So I so appreciate, Olivia, you tuning into that, because it's very profound to be able to create an environment where people can go and really touch into all of the things that they've forgot why they came here to do, and the whole purpose of being. So thank you.
Thank you. I've never been to a retreat. Candidly, I want to go, and I look forward to the opportunity when it comes along to go to one and experience it and meet people who are seeing life through the same lenses as me, even if it's just for a weekend. It would be a really great opportunity.
I want to ask you guys to say, I go to some places, take mini retreats or mini pause. I call them the pause. I met a neurologist. He wrote a book called The QR, Quieting Reflex. So basically, every time you exhale, you can do this right now, and you smile inwardly, you reset your nervous system. So I don't like to talk about diseases, but if you think about a disease or being dis at ease, it's kind of like it's the habitual reaction to strain. So you look at a person as an example, and you see them push forward or pull back. They're tilted over. People will say that's aging. Well, it's actually not aging. It's a strain of that habitual response. So what I practice, it's just kind of mind blowing. I just go to a third space. So actually, this next week, I'm meeting with this amazing librarian. We're doing a whole show on the power of third space. So what Lisa was saying, I think it's so healthy in some ways to go to different places and discover a whole different way of life and breath. And of course, Olivia, the fact you have this Finnish sauna that you brought in from Finland, I see doing groups up there with you, and so what I think the most, if I had to put one thing as the most healing, powerful thing in our life, I would say it's our intimate relationship, and I would say community. And so what was interesting is someone just researched this. They researched what makes the biggest difference in our life after 70 in terms of our health. Well, in fact, it's relational, it's community. It's being a significant contributor. Don't ever retire. Being a significant contributor, movement, and movement for the brain, and of course, play. We don't need sports, we need play. So another thing that Lisa, you kind of remind me of, that when we meet each other from a beginner's mind, a beginner's place, where we could begin again. And I think as adults, what happens is we live on assumptions and what I call thought viruses. So I want to announce today officially, since I got Olivia on the phone here, and Ariel has been to Vermont. Nate, are you there yet? Nate Hughes? Nate was going to show up today. He's one of my inside people. He's in the Catskills, and we're going to be working with Menla, the retreat center there. There we go, retreat center. I want to open up. We're opening up Vibrant Living Vermont. So each week, whether it's a chef, a retreat center, I'll be doing my coaching work there. I'll be doing my vibrant matchmaking, and we'll be giving away a vacation each week from an inn or a hotel. So I want to share this vibrant living experience in Vermont, because Vermont, to me, is one of these places. Someone just did a research on Vermont. They just found this out. And what they say is it's something about the way of life there. They couldn't quite define it. It's the Vermont experience. And I think part of that is that sense of the Green Mountains and wonder. And then if Lisa could encourage me, I think we might open up vibrant Kauai. So we have a warm place. So we're another thing about a retreat is changing your relationship to time. You know, before they had fax machines, people could breathe. Did you know that people's breathing disturbances now have been so amplified since the internet and email? There's more hyperventilation than ever before. And that's because people hold their breath. So right now, take an exhale, everybody. And I'm going to give this back to you, Lisa, because I thought you said so many beautiful things.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that, very much. You know, so many of the places that I've been to, it's interesting. Sometimes I'm traveling to go for an educational class, and sometimes I'll be in an environment where it's just about me, and you kind of meander through. I like to just sort of see where the roads take me sometimes. Mm-hmm. I used to say I don't have a sense of direction, but I really, because I would be directly challenged without my GPS. But oftentimes, it's the road less traveled that takes you, and you do find these wondrous places. You stumble in, and you're in a coffee shop by yourself, and you have a conversation with somebody, and they say, oh, well, if you're just here for a short time, you definitely have to see this. And it wouldn't be anything that you would normally see. When I went to Detroit, it was interesting to attend that event. One of the people said, you need to go see this bead museum. And I thought, well, why do I want to see a bead museum? But it was silly.
I would have done the same thing, Lisa.
Yeah, I thought, well, and as I was driving out there, it's not exactly in a desirable part of town. I sort of thought, well, I'm not in Kansas anymore. I'm not really familiar with this area, but I just went on faith. And when I walked in, there was the most interesting gentleman sitting behind the counter, and I said, oh, I said, have you worked here for very long? There was lots of beads on the walls, and I was looking around and trying to find out a little bit more about what draws all these people to this very out-of-the-way space. And what was sort of interesting, as I engaged this man in conversation, I found out that the museum had been there for 17 years, and he had actually been there for 19. So he was the gentleman who was sort of the founder. And what I discovered in the conversation with him was that he was a little bit of a mystic, even though he tried to be a little bit undercover. And it was interesting. He said to me, he said, you ask a lot of questions. And I said, yeah, I do. Yeah. I said, because I care. I said, I'm curious because I want to learn. I want to learn about what inspired you to create this. And, when you walked outside the walls, there had been a big junkyard at one time. And what he created in that space was almost a museum from junk. And it was really beautiful in the landscape. I mean, old rusted filing cabinets, really quite interesting.
Very beautiful. Undercover Mystic, our new series. You're listening to Vibrant Living Network. Olivia Libby, Newfoundland dog lover. Ariel, here's comments in a moment. Lisa LaRose. Stay with us for more vibrancy in a moment.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from New Thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, this is recording artist and composer Yuval Ran, inviting you to a voyage through the chakras, a new double album of guided meditations to transform your life, a sublime musical medicine for nourishing inner peace and reaching to your higher virtues. Get it now at metamindfulnessmusic.com, METTA mindfulnessmusic.com.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to Vibrant Living. I'm Glenn Brooks, along with Lisa LaRose, Olivia Libby. I just had to pause, Olivia. I'm integrating the new. Yes, your maiden name is so beautiful. Say your maiden name.
My real name, my given name.
Your born name. I'm sorry. I got politically didn't know what to say. I was still boobled. What's the other name you shared?
I come from a very Italian family, so if you would ask my grandmother, it would be Olivia Bertolini. So.
You listen to the format to say that. Then you married a regular guy.
Yeah, he's
extraordinary, but a more regular name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, more regular name. Yeah. Ariel's with us. I want to get your. Oh, I know. I wanted to ask you. And I'm going to start with you, Ariel. So I learned coaching from the inside out. Before I got fired at a retreat center I worked at, because all the staff was actually partying. I thought this was, it was called Fanny Schaefer's Vegetarian Farm, and I gave a talk, and at the end of the talk, before I left, this guy, because I was thinking about these valuable moments. That's what I want to ask you, Ariel, and I want to ask Lisa and Olivia and Nate if you're there. What this guy did. He walked up to me. And by the way, these are people in their 80s, 90s, and a couple of 100-year-olds. I gave him a talk on growing young, if you could believe it, because I had a mentor that was like 110. And I was sharing with them what I was learning from him. It was kind of cool, Dr. Norman Walker. So at the end of that talk, this guy followed me from the talk. He was in the group. He probably was in his 90s. And he put like $10 in my pocket, because I had two pockets. And he said, keep expressing this. And I realized that in that moment, he was like, that was the amplification of 10,000 guidance counselors I never had. And somehow, no matter what anybody said or did, I knew there was something else to that. So how to turn your vocation into your vacation, you need to start thinking a little unusually and to risk. And that's the purpose why I developed the Vibrant Living Challenge. It's a 3-month program. The point is that when we risk and breathe together, we could bridge a new world together. And it's so brilliantly, Rita said to me the other day, who was starting a new show on how to change your brain. Breathing and acknowledging fear is the way to become a different kind of human being. So I had my moment, and many moments, like, what was a moment for you, Ariel, when someone gave you a message or they said something that really altered your life vibrantly?
Oh, it's a very, very deep question. I could definitely say there are a couple. I would say I'm not sure if I could pinpoint a moment or just a period of time. I would definitely say a period of time that really impacted me was my year I spent in Israel, living in Israel. When I was right after high school, I studied for a year in a yeshiva, in a Talmudic academy in Jerusalem. And, other than the fact that it was an opportunity for growth in Judaism and my own spiritual growth, it really allowed me to take time out of my life to really just pinpoint and see, what's the purpose of life? Why am I here? Why are we on this earth? What's my mission in this world? And it really gave me the space and the clarity and the peace of mind and opportunity just to really dwell and really meditate on these things. And, after spending a year and then another half year in, a country 6,000 miles away from home, it really, and then coming back afterwards, it really gave me that, it really just gave me that clarity and that focus and mindset of who I am and what do I want to accomplish and what I feel, what is my mission in this world that I want to bring to help others to make an impact. And, there are definitely a combination of things in that time period, but I would definitely just say that time period in general really impacted me in so many different ways, spiritually, psychologically, physically, every possible way.
You said something, one word. Okay, so I'm going to tie this to retreats, vibrant retreats. I'm going to tie this to how to turn your vocation into your vacation. So I used to, anytime someone was doing something that I thought was really interesting, I go to visit them. So I met some very interesting people. I met martial artists. I met people that literally you could have one session with them and walk differently, breathe differently. So everything, like it's an exam. I'm reading a book right now. I'm reading something right now on how to reverse Alzheimer's, and it's sort of like a different world. So I know what I wanted to say. And this kind of, all right, someone said this to me. A very wise person said this to me one day. And I know you guys, I think you a dog lover, Ariel, because we got some dog lovers around us right here. So someone said to me. Okay, depends on the dog. Okay, that's a politically correct answer. I like that. All right, so this guy said to me, he said, well, he goes, you could read from the New York City phone book or a St. Bernard could deliver this work. I was asking about what makes a profound difference when people get together. What makes a profound difference when people get together? Because that connects to retreat, and that connects with how to turn your vocation into vacation. So it's the space. It's the relational space that occurs where there's kindredship and there's a willingness. Like when I started going to retreat centers, which I did regularly, I noticed there was a certain reverence among people that were interested in having this waking up experience, this vibrant experience, that allowed us to inquire and be vulnerable to each other. And this morning when I did my wonderful conversation with Mariska Jacobs, she said to me that a lot of yoga classes are set up in a way that's not that relational. They're set up to have your own mat. So we have these programs now. We have this thing, natural chi movement, and the idea is you can move and interact with each other. So another thing she said to me I thought was noteworthy in our relational space. I need my own space. We need a relational space. So she said to me that it's not chemistry that brings people together. It's actually how they read each other's system. It's not chemistry. It's a sense of like, and I've seen this on retreats, Olivia and Lisa and Ariel. I've seen a retreat that somehow people discover this third space, and there's a sense of innocence and trust. And interestingly enough, when Ashley Montague wrote his book at 85 called Growing Young, that was one of his main points, is that we're not supposed to grow old. So if we're not growing old, and one of our academic advisors to the Vibrant Living Network, Dr. Norm Sheila, he's 85, doesn't take any medications. He just reversed the length of his cells, the telomeres. That's what this thing's about. That's why you need retreats from a society that is way too hurried, to feel breath and pulse. And then from that breath and pulse, you start to create your own career. You start to create, your vocation into your vacation. And this happens in ways that totally surprises people. Because right now, most of us are too busy. So we need to pause back. So Lisa, did you have a turning moment in your life that someone said something before you became Lisa the Mystic? Like, was there a moment that, like, what happened in your life? Anybody around you? I know you have very significant people around you. Family members.
I do, and I will tell you, one of the most interesting things that ever happened to me was many, many years ago. Gosh, it's got to be at least 30 years now. And I was walking, and there's a part of the city called the South Side, and it's very hip and trendy. And this gentleman who looked pretty much like a homeless person walked up to me and said, if you pray for me, I'll pray for you. And I looked him in the eye, and I said, thank you. I said, of course I'll pray for you. And then it was so interesting because I turned around to say something to the friend that I was with, and this man just disappeared. And I almost, it was the most unusual feeling. It was almost like an encounter with an angel. And I still to this day, I will never forget this man's face. And, to look beyond the appearance of what you think you see. And it stayed with me. And I always think that. I look into the eyes of, people on the street and, you've never seen him again. And why at that moment, he didn't want anything from me, wasn't asking for money. But it touched me really deeply.
Olivia asked me a question in our conversation. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. That's like, that is so beautiful. I'm feeling the vibe of it, the energy of it. Olivia, you asked me something the other day that was kind of a profound question. Hope you don't mind me sharing it. You're probably thinking, what is he going to say?
Yeah, I am.
What is he going to? You are. I figured you would be. Yeah. No, you asked me at one point. You said, "Well, do you believe in evil?" You said that to me, and I thought to myself, that was a real good question. And there's this book. It's called People of the Lie. See, what Lisa did, if you think about it, Lisa's living in this. Einstein said the most powerful question we could have, most powerful question we can live by is the universe a friendly place to be? Powerful question, right? And Lisa kind of paused and had this interaction. A lot of people wouldn't allow themselves that. They wouldn't allow that interaction. And the nervous system gets stiff and tight. But to the extent we could be like kids and be mobile and have a mobile brain, that's actually changed Lisa's brain. That changed the plasticity of her brain. She had another human being. She saw beyond his appearance. Yes, but evil. So in the book, People of the Lie, one of his big points is that it's not a linear thing lying. It's kind of a lying from this other place that we don't have a conversation about, which is kind of the soul place, which is what Lisa talked about. It's this other place in other cultures, they have a language for this. I met this guy from Ethiopia, and I realized that, honestly, the first 3 times I met him, we didn't speak, but I could tell we had resonance. And he turned out he's in a movie, which I'm forgetting. A movie is called I think it's called The River and the Tree. Lolly. He won that award that Jacques Cousteau won, this big award they presented. But he comes over to me and he says to me, in his culture, they have this thing, it's called Mingi. Have any of you heard of Mingi before? Lisa?
I do, because I had interactions with you when you were
you remember this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a wild thing.
That's
so
unfair, but I'll ask. You can ask Ariel.
It's unfair. Okay, Lisa and Olivia, have your hands. Lisa, you have such a good memory. Thank you. Good brain. Have you heard of Mingi or Olivia, Ariel?
I have not.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I thought Ariel would have said absolutely. I named my dog. No. So Mingi. I do incredibly well with Jewish audiences between 20 and 40. I don't know what it is. So Mingi basically is the curse that comes upon a baby when I think the front teeth haven't come in. It's an unwed couple. So Lolly didn't know what this was as a young man. He didn't know what Mingi was. And what's sort of interesting is I say the story and I think about People of the Lie, is there evil? So basically when someone determines you have Mingi in the tribe and you're a baby, they could kill you. So he was a very young man. He said he was walking on this trail, and he saw this baby, like, drowning, basically. He was dying. And he noticed this another time. And by the time he was maybe 8 or 9, he realized there's 50,000 people in his ethnic tribe, by the way, 50,000. And they all believe in Mingi. They don't believe in it. They live as if Mingi is a reality. When you look around your world right now, how many beliefs that people around you believe, just like Mingi, and they believe it so their belief is their disease. So the belief in survival, right? It's not even a belief. It's people live from survival, and they live as if other people are intruding them, right? There's a whole bunch of... So another aspect of retreat is to be able to step back and be able to notice another breath. So our breath kind of tells us our relationship with everything in proximity, our movement. So retreating allows us to examine this thing called beliefs in our body. So anyway, with me and Lolly told me what Mingy is, and I said to him, well, that's like divorce. And he said, absolutely. So divorce is another thing. It's a construct that says if someone's annoying you and they do all these things, you divorce them. See, it's something that we usually I'll call these belief curses, an old word. Thought viruses might be a little better, but we kind of believe things. And as an example, when I was growing up, and I want to ask you guys this: my father, if something dropped on the floor, he would just flip out. He would just, and now here's the thing from our parents. I want you guys to comment on this. Your parents never say to you, "Go drain all your life energy." Give up everything that's relevant to you, and do this thing called get a job. They don't say this to you. What do? They're tired. They lay around. Like my father used to come home, and I could tell, he didn't gain life energy, so it was like he'd come home and he would just collapse. So the first thing I was curious about, is it possible to be in a world where you actually could express something you love? And the first time I got paid for that, well, it was probably that moment with the speaking thing, but at other times. And so the most valuable thing is to start to move into underwhelm. So Mingy, I said, these are beliefs that we live from without questioning. So Olivia, you want to have people come to your beautiful inn and I think the sauna is out of this world. So I would call, you have a destination vibrant retreat center, because when people come there, they drop out of time, and our beliefs don't just affect our mind, they affect our body. So what's the time in your life? Tell me a time in your life. What was the time in your life? Because you said so many significant things. As a coach, you got to realize everything you said to me is like, wow. I had so many ahas when you spoke to me, like a lot of ahas, like, wow, your father said this to you. The account said that to you. I was like, wow. I kind of felt like who you are before you went to law school. And then, you know what I mean? So when we're talking about thought viruses, what do you feel has reinforced your heart in your life right now? What's reinforced your heart to keep you going?
Well, okay, so I actually can literally pinpoint. It was a very profound statement to me, profound moment in my life. It was January of 2016, and I met a woman named Lene, and she was dying. She was dying of cancer. She was coming to terms with her death. And I remember sitting down listening to the words she was saying, and she said something that was just so profound for me. And you have to understand my place. I was, 27 at the time, getting ready to graduate law school. At this point, I was very, $100,000 in debt, career motivated. I was going to go make money. I was going to have a fancy car and so forth. This is my mindset.
Were you going to pick me up in your fancy car? Just kidding.
Right, yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She was talking about her death and her life. And she was saying, and I wish I could remember the exact words she used because it was so profound. It was brought tears to my eyes and goosebumps all over my body. But essentially what she said is look I am dying, and I understand this and I know this. And when I die, it's not the beautiful house I have that matters. It's not all the jewelry that I have mounted over a lifetime. It is not my fancy car. It is not my great furniture and my artwork. And then listing off her material things, she's like, it's when I take my last breath, when I pass on, I pray, I hope that I am surrounded by the people that I love, that my family, my friends, that at the end of my life, it's not, she's like, I'm looking at this now. She worked so hard to get these material objects, these fancy cars, the things that I, at the lenses of a 20-some-odd-year-old, was striving for. She said, none of that matters. It's about those connections. It's about those people you meet. It's about those relationships that you cultivate. Those are what define you as a person. Those are your legacy. Those are the things that really matter, because when you die, you cannot take that fancy car or that beautiful diamond ring or that great piece of artwork. But your legacy will live on in the hearts of the people who love you. And maybe there's just something that was just so obvious, and everybody knows it and knew it. But for me, it was like this aha moment, this very, very powerful moment. And right after that, I get a phone call within a month. Right after that, I get a phone call from my mom. My dad just had a minute stroke, and I needed to come back to Vermont. He was sick. It was scary. And it was like this conversation I had with this woman just all came to fruition, and I realized I needed to make some life decisions about where I wanted to go, what I wanted to be. Did I really need that fancy car that I was aiming to have by, 30 years old, or that beautiful home and so forth? And certainly these are things I value and I love, but they don't matter. And it was about my family, my friends, my relationships, my community. So that was honestly probably one of the most profoundest things anybody had ever said to me. It changed the course of my life and way I look at life and the lenses I see my everyday through, if that makes sense at all. That's my story.
That's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Do you think Libby and Ariel and Lisa LaRose's honor we should have Let's Pray for Each Other Day at Whole Foods Market next week maybe? Like it's a day dedicated to praying. I like the idea of praying for each other. I think that'd be I went to see this guy. Do you guys know there was a guru named Muktananda up in Fallsburg, New York? Oh, I'm going to see if I can get this in, right? All right. So all it said at the ashram was see God in each other. We had several thousand people. That's not a bad thing to pay attention to. Your life's precious and joy. Stay with us for more vibrant retreating and forwarding with people such as blessed Lisa LaRose, Olivia, and Ariel in a moment. I'm Glenn Brooks.
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hi, this is New Age Grammy winner Paul Avgerinos. Thanks for listening to OMTimes Radio, and please support my peaceful healing music with a purchase at iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you shop for fine music. Just put my name into the search engine, Paul Avgerinos. A, V like Victor, G like George, E-R-I-N-O-S. You can also visit me at roundskymusic.com. Thanks for listening, and I'm wishing you the brightest of blessings.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Vibrant Living. I'm going to take a moment with Lisa LaRose, Ariel Lilly, and Ariel Bonberg. I want to take a moment and do something with Ariel. So this gives us momentum here. It's going to give us momentum. So I'm going to give you a little exercise. I give it to my clients. I give it to myself when I'm smart, right? Sometimes I'm smart. All right. I want you to see, now we have a network, the Vibrant Living Network. We produce events. We produce these Vibrant Living community events, experiences, where people not just come to speak, but we educate them. We work with them. We have a speakers bureau. We have an international speakers bureau. So what we do is we combine the one-of-a-kind format, the Vibrant Living format, for people to cultivate and discover the language, what moves them the most. They also get to retreat. They also get to see. You know, the problem is with the survival message. People get all constrained about what they have to do. But imagine if you had the space where you could kind of, this relational space, discover and then be in front of your peers, be in front of your inside dojo people, the people around you, your Vibrant Living team, inside members, and discover this message. So we got 2 events coming up, one in Vermont and one in Rhode Island with our Vibrant collaboration partner, Natural Awakenings magazine. So your mission, I know you said this, we're going to bring 30 people in who are going to be hosts and vibrant speakers, and they're going to discover another whole level of the message, and we're going to leave behind some of the thought viruses. So we're not just working from survival. So we could be like Lisa and meet wonderful people on the street and pray for each other. I like that. I like the analogy, the Lisa analogy a lot. And Olivia, yeah, by the way, I want to say we're both listening to Olivia and Lisa. Those are beautiful. Those are new nervous system messages. Like the nervous system listens to those. So with you, Ariel, I want you to feel that real, like effortlessly. Just see that. Exhale 3 times and let yourself just see that, and then sharing that with people. Because we have this, one of the things I say to people about business is no competing. How to fill your business with no competing, beyond competing. So you have your own blue ocean. So we got this blue ocean, and you're our New York producer. And I love people in New York. I think that's a really unique happening market. And I'm ready to really amplify the New York regional Vibrant Living team with our speakers and our hosts. And also we send people on vacation. I also want to put another little message here. We're looking for videographers, people involved with film, screenwriters, writers. So if you want to be part of the Vibrant Living team, give us a call today. And Ariel, you're going to start posting this on Instagram. Lisa's there.
Absolutely.
We got Olivia. We're going to okay. And also I'll give up my phone number like the old days. You could actually call a real human being. 413-345-3747. 413-34. What is it? I used to know the number. 413-345-3747. And here's the spontaneous moment of the show. Here it is. You ready? You ready, Ariel? Well, just tell me how that was for you. How did you find that little exercise we did? Did you like that?
It was very soothing. It was very invigorating. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Just keep feeling it real, and let your imagination. This woman who hired me a couple weeks ago, she said, she goes, my inner wisdom tells me I should pay you $650. And I said, I like that. Let's go with that. So she came up with the price and everything. I kind of like that. So I said, hey, Libby, I think I want to play a game with you. Ready? Ariel, we're going to do something really spontaneous. All good things happen in the spontaneous, right? Love, truth. What's something you want to ask Lisa LaRose today, Olivia, that you're curious about, you haven't even thought about? What would you like to ask Lisa? She's ready for you.
Good question. Oh, I got one.
What?
Lisa said that she travels all over.
Yes.
Where is the next must-go-to spot and why?
Wow.
You know what? It's very interesting you say that, and it's probably going to be Portugal. And the reason I say that is because it keeps showing up. I keep meeting people. It keeps showing up in my travel things that come up as far as good deals, and it's the same place. And I just talked to a friend of mine, and she said, guess what? I'm leaving Los Angeles. She said, I'm moving. And I said, where are you moving to? And she said, Portugal. I said, okay. Awesome. I guess I'm going to be going to Portugal very soon. Never been close by, but obviously there's.
What's the culture like? What's the culture like in Portugal? What do you know about the culture? I know that there's women in Portugal that have no back pain. They carry those big baskets, and they've been studying. They have no back pain. They're in their 80s. What do you know? What's the lifestyle like? What draws you to Portugal on any level?
You know what she had said, she's originally from Romania, and she said that the quality of life there and the way that people interact and experience each other is what's drawing her there. So I'm really curious to experience that for myself. I think that there's, there's lots of beauty. It's not a very big geographical area, but I'm sure that there's a lot of really unique things to discover, not just with the culture, but the nature, some of the history, and I love the water. I love being around the water and the mountains, and it has both. So it'll be a unique inspiration and exploration, and now I'll have a friend to visit there as well. So.
By the way, that was a great question, Olivia.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And
that
so,
was really
Olivia,
good.
if you had your choice of a place to explore, where would that be?
Oh my God, I have always wanted to go on an African safari.
Wow.
You remember the movie, going back, old Meryl Streep movie, Out of Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful movie.
I never saw that movie, Robert Redford.
Oh, it's beautiful. The cinematography, the music in the movie, all of the movie. I remember watching it with my mom and dad as a little girl and being like, oh my God, I want to go there. I so want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so but that would just be a vacation of a lifetime.
Well, I could be happy to give you some guidance because I've actually ventured to Africa myself, and it's the most beautiful night skies because there's no light pollution, and every star, every constellation is just like within your reach, and to go on a safari and photograph and be with the animals is beyond magical. So I'd be happy to share lots of insights with you on that.
Wow.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Ariel, give out. How could people find my Instagram? Beats me. How do people find my Instagram? You're supposed to have Instagram. I have no. How can people? VibrantLiving.com. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Vibrant Living Network.com. VibrantLivingNetwork.com. What's the Instagram?
So the Instagram handle is vibrant bottom space / whatever you want to call it, living, and then bottom space network. So you just basically just type in the Vibrant Living Network in Instagram and it'll come up.
All right.
That's all you need to do.
All right. Give out your website. Then we'll go to Olivia. What's your website?
My website is refuahomeopathy.com. It's REFUAHOMEOPATHY.com. And feel free to check out for new blog posts and new updates on my practice on myself and on natural health.
And we're going to get our Vibrant Retreats up on Olivia's site because I want to bring people to the authentic finished sauna. What's your website? Tell people the name of your wonderful inn there, Olivia.
Okay, so the inn, the Nordic, we call it the Nordic Spa. So it's Willowberg Boutique Inn and Nordic Spa, and the website is www.willowberg.com, and Willowberg is WILLOBURKE.com. It's very pretty.
And that's where people could go. That's where people go to have vibrant retreats and meet people and have the experience of the most powerful medicine in our life, which is intimacy, right? A deeper connection. All right, Lisa, I know you have 1,000 sites. Is there any site you want to give out today?
No, it's just the onewisdom.org, onewisdom.org.
I wanted to make sure that you weren't in the middle of doing something that I wasn't supposed to say. But okay, we're going to go One Wisdom today.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. You're welcome. So designing retreats, I don't know about you guys, but I met a guy, Kenyon Ranch, wrote a book on entrepreneurs, and the whole thing is that we conform to get along, and then we hold our breaths because we're so in some sense, being in a group, the Vibrant Living Challenge, which I recommend to you guys, it really allows you to kind of take risks and breathe together, and I just love it. And by the way, welcome officially today, Olivia, as being a Vibrant Living team member and now part of Vibrant Travel.
That's
and
an honor.
Lisa will hook you up with being a resident of Portugal after the show, and that's good.
That's wonderful.
Right?
I've always heard things about the Azores Islands, so I would be curious if you make your way over there, Lisa, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm headed. Maybe you can join me if you'd like.
Oh my God!
Oh, that sounds cool. What an offer!
Yeah,
what an offer!
I love people who are open to adventure and
so
just
Ariel
experiencing with no itinerary.
Yeah, that's rare and wondrous travel. So Ariel's considering getting an Audi based on your experience. Should he focus on getting a fancy car or something else, or he could get an Audi and still be a contributor, Olivia? What do you think? He's 26. Should he get an Audi, or what? Should he help people at the church down from his house? Or both?
A lot of risks are involved in both.
You live in an urban area, though, don't you? You don't have to go deal with mud season or anything like that, right?
I actually, I live in the suburbs, but work in the urban. Yeah, you got that right.
All right.
Go for Audi, then. Good for you. That's good.
Hey, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Olivia. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris. Our partnership with OMTimes Radio is strong and blossoming. Thanks, everyone at OMTimes. Love working with you guys. Your life's precious. Enjoy it. I'm Glenn Brooks for the Vibrant Living Network and VibrantLivingNetwork.com. Thanks.